Hi. We are talking about my career journey, what marketing looks like for me when I was working, and how I transitioned into product marketing without going to business school. And is business school really over for me? Are we done trying to get to that path? I don't know. Before you go any further, I'm Danielle. I make videos on my first gen experience. That is everything from navigating money conversations with my partner, with family, but also trying to find my next tech marketing job. So if that's of any interest, please hit that subscribe button. Stay here for the ride. Let's see where we go. Okay, well, I got one question, just one, and decided, you know, people want to hear how to transition into marketing when you study political science, when you study something that is not at all business adjacent or have any internships throughout your college career that involve marketing. So to backtrack a bit, I graduated with a liberal arts degree, political science, baby. Throughout my time at college, I was interning in a lot of like government and nonprofit organizations, which, you know, I was going through a different path. I was going through the path of potentially I want to be a lawyer. And so how do I set myself up to be that person? Fast forward to my first full-time job out of college. Again, unrelated to anything that I studied. I just needed that first job because I needed money to pay for my student loans, period. That is why I got the first job that I got. And most recently in an interview, somebody asked me like, take me through your resume. And literally, I'm sure she was reading my LinkedIn post because she talked about my first job. She talked about my first like thing out of school, which was an internship. And I'm like, why are we talking about this? How is this related? Needless to say, I did not get the job. But anyway, first full-time position, translations company, working within the sales department, helping our projects move through. I wasn't myself doing translations, but I knew I was unhappy in that role. I think the moment that I knew that I needed to leave was, I forget what music festival, I think it was Panorama Music Festival. I am running late because something came up, an email came up and I had to address it, right? It was Friday evening. If we didn't get to the client, I was gonna hear about it on Monday. So I stayed late. I showed up late to Panorama to meet up with Ari and my friends. And on my way to the music festival, I'm like, this can't be life. This cannot be it. I hate this job. So I wanted to leave. And I didn't really think I knew what I wanted to do next. I don't know if I was fully aware of like the tech industry and all of that, but that stuff excited me. And I was part of communities that, you know, people were talking about their careers, people were talking about jobs that they were hiring for. So that's how I came across the first tech job that I had. And it was an account management position. So I entered tech as a salesperson on the sales side. Let's talk about this transition into a tech company. I transitioned into sales, knew that I could do the work that I was doing in my existing role at a tech company. But another thing that I also kind of took a risk on was, and I took a pay cut, but it was minimal, right? Like I was finally at like 55 and I took a pay cut to 52. So almost didn't even feel it. But I was willing to take that pay cut because I thought my opportunities could be endless at this company. It was a small startup, probably about 25 people, less than 25 people. And I knew that I could get a glimpse at other roles that were at that company that maybe I wasn't doing in the role that I was hired to do. But because it's such a small company, I'd have access to other people who are doing other things. So I transitioned easily because I went into a sales position, account management, sales. I also went into a smaller company where I thought it would allow me to really grow. And the third thing was I was willing to just like be able to take that pay cut, not drastic. That was my first pivot, 2017. That was a big one for me. And I stayed at that company for 4.5 years. I stayed there for 4.5 years. Let me tell you, about a year and a half into this company, and at this time I had already switched titles, because I think that was one of the perks of being at a small company, is that I raised my hand whenever I saw an opportunity to do something and try something, right? So like, no email marketing team. Okay, cool. Hey, let me try email marketing, because on the side, I was running a newsletter on my own through MailChimp. So I was like, I have this experience that I'm doing outside of work. Let me bring it into work. Let's try to figure out how we can create more of a content calendar around what we send related to email. So raise my hand for that. When someone left who was managing our ambassador program, I said, hey, let me run it. Like, I have so many ideas. And that's kind of how I got the opportunities that I got to experience different things within marketing. So I guess the second pivot was at that company. I knew 6 months in, I could not do account management. I was like, I'm not gonna get promoted to deal with clients, so let me move on to the marketing team. And that's what I did. I was then given the responsibility to help with email marketing and really supporting like the efforts between the account management team and our marketing team. So I was kind of in the in-between. And a year and a half into that job, I had already noticed like, okay, I probably should start looking elsewhere. I saw turnover happening, people were leaving, and I also was like, maybe my opportunities here are capped. I started really considering business school, because many of the people that were leaving to go to business school or other like larger tech companies. And so I was like, maybe I should think about that. Maybe I should see what business school looks like for me. At that time, I made the decision that, and I went to a bunch of like the free Forte events, the different events that are hosted for like women in business school. I attended those. I tried to see myself in those positions, like being an applicant, being a business school student. And I just decided then that it was not the time for me to go and do business school, because I didn't know that like I really cared enough to have like an MBA or to spend 2 years of my life not making money and working. So that was like the big reason, I think, why then I decided like, I am not gonna pursue that right now. Maybe I'll look at it later. It does come up later. B school, always a thought in my head. But yeah, in that year and a half, I was like, maybe I should look elsewhere. And I started applying at other places. I didn't really ever get another offer. So I was like, okay, let me just stay here and see what I can learn, do what I can do. I stayed there. A lot of my marketing responsibilities tied to user growth, user acquisition, and user engagement. How are we getting people to hear about us, but also stay on the platform and use our job board when they're not applying to jobs? So that was kind of like my marketing responsibilities. And then the pandemic hit. We were a small, but we got way smaller after the pandemic when we had our layoffs, first round of layoffs, and our team shrunk from probably 6 to 3 of us. And we were responsible for like that transition of in-person events to virtual events, and thinking through how we keep people coming to us when our partner companies, and if I haven't mentioned this before, it was a recruiting company, right? Like a recruiting tech, helping companies diversify their workplace. So how do we get people to stay here when our partner companies aren't hiring? And so it was a lot of that kind of work and thinking through what different initiatives, programs we can run to make sure that we were still getting an influx of users onto the platform. And then in this time period too, as a company, we started thinking about a different product that we can bring to market. We started thinking about, okay, what if we expand outside of just this job board? What does that look like? And so that is when the opportunity for product marketing came to mind. And this is another point where I think the work that you do outside of your job, and I'm not saying like free work that you do, I'm saying the if you care about your career and you're doing professional development for yourself, not because an employer is asking you to do, this is where I think it helps a lot, because I was reading about something called product marketing. I was reading about how to successfully launch products. I was reading about these things, and I brought that to the attention of our team. I said, hey, if we're gonna launch this, we need to have like a really clear cut like messaging for our users to know why they should sign up. We need to have a go-to-market plan. Who's gonna talk about this? What channels are we using? And we need to really think about this like ahead of time. This is not something we can do reactively. And so I pitched the product marketing position that I wanted to see, because I wanted this product to be successful. So I said, in order to do that, other companies are using what is a product marketing manager, and I would like to be that person for the company. So being able to take what I was learning outside of work into the company was something that I think I was able to do because, one, we were still a small company, and working at a small scrappy startup, that is a big like eye roll now. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be like scrappy anymore, because it's like you really have to like stretch yourself. But being at that stage and being in that position, I was able to say, okay, I'm going to be the one that spearheads this for us. And I had been there for a good enough time. I had been there for 3 years. So I had that kind of rapport with leadership where I was like, let's trust Danielle that like she can run with this. And so that gave me the opportunity to be able to make that pivot internally with all of my other roles too. Like every year I got a different title, I got a different responsibility, because I don't want to say I asked for it, but because I was curious and I was bringing things to the table that I was learning when I was going to different events, reading about different things. So I think still in this little, not tip, but like something that helped me at least not have graduated with a business degree is the fact that I've always been interested in these things and been learning just for my own sake, not because anybody is asking me to. To close that off, I really do think that being able to see and being able to take what you're seeing from peers in other roles and bringing them to your company helps people think about you as someone that they can trust to bring this vision to life. So I was in that product marketing role for my last year at that company. And in November of 2021, I decided to take a break, right? I said, I need to not work here anymore, because I feel like at that point I realized my growth was capped and I wanted to go elsewhere. But for the last like 2 years that I was at that company, I was applying and not getting any offers. I was getting interviews, but nothing was converting into an offer. So I said, I'm gonna just take a step back and just figure out what it is that I want to do and how I can do marketing at a company that is not this company. And so I took a 3-4 month sabbatical. I was doing consulting work in the meantime, more so on the events side. During that time, I also realized like, hey, when I was interviewing, I was not getting offers. If I want another product marketing position, I'm gonna need to hire a professional, hire somebody to help me work through my interviewing skills, to help me position myself to be able to make that transition. Because although I had been doing product marketing at my last company, it was a unique position. It was a unique position, and I wanted that to be able to translate well for product marketing at another company, another tech company. And so I decided to reach out to someone in my network who I saw was starting a product marketing position. And I was like, how did you transition? Because I had known him from my previous company. He was doing client facing work, and now in product marketing. I was like, how did you do this? And he said, oh, I worked with a coach, career coach. This is her contact information. Reach out to her. And I was like, okay, I want to work with you. Like, let's make this happen. And at the time, I wasn't working. I was on my sabbatical, and coaching was a couple of thousands of dollars. But I decided I'm going to take this and look at it as an investment in myself. And so in working with her, and just like less than 2 months that we worked together, I was able to feel more confident about how everything that I had done translated into a product marketing role at a larger tech company. And so I was able to secure my next product marketing position at a company that was about 200 people large, which I was so happy because not only did I hit my 6-figure mark, right? Like I had finally crossed over that salary band, and now I was at a larger, more reputable tech company in the recruiting tech space. Again, stayed in recruiting tech. But I was happy that I had decided to look at coaching as an investment in myself for me to be able to get a position that I want. So that is another note here, is like, don't be afraid to put the money into working with somebody who has had results for people, who has, you know, the position, who has had the position that you want, who has been able to make those transitions for themselves. I think my career coach was super beneficial in me to have somebody to be like, reminding me that I can do this job because I have done it in the past. It's a huge thing to be able to admit to yourself, like, I need help and I need external help to be able to get the job that I want. And I was at that company for a year and a half, doing all sorts of product marketing things that, you know, we associate with product marketing. And if you want me to dive into kind of what product marketing is, what it does, how it works, how it looks different at every company, let me know in the comments, because that deserves a separate video. But I was there for a year and a half before I got laid off in August, which is, if that's how you found me, hello, we're up to date now, we're up to date. But still, the career journey continues, because even after getting laid off, I decided I'm going to invest in just continuing to keep my skills sharp, right? So I finished a certification for product marketing. I went through that course. I was like, okay, let's make sure that I can speak to the points that maybe I wasn't super sharp on before or in my past positions. And this conversation of business school, master's, is something that I have been thinking about for the last year. It's something that comes up a lot, especially in the world that I'm in marketing at tech companies. But I personally myself have still decided right now it is not the path that I want to take, because I don't know that I want to get a business master's degree. There is a part of me that wants to get an advanced degree. I just don't know if it's in business. And I do think a lot of the times you can learn the things that you might learn in business school. And I don't know. I don't know if you can, actually, because I've never been to business school. But I just feel like I've watched a lot of videos of people say, like, I went to business school for the network, to like start a company and all that stuff. But I also think maybe joining companies at a stage where you can be on the ground and see what's done and how it's done and all that stuff could be a good experience and a good entry point if you're still like undecided. And for me, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go to business school at some point. Right now, I just don't see that as some interest of mine that I want to have, because I don't know that I want the jobs that people get when they graduate from business school, or the jobs that, you know, you're supposed to get. Plus, I just don't want to go into debt for school. And if I ever go to business school, it's gonna be with the full ride, like, period. But I am thinking about alternative advanced degrees. Going back to school, it's true. They say, like, once you're out of it, it's hard to want to go back, because you don't want to lose out on the years of work, the maybe having to move to a different place. So that's kind of my marketing career. I don't know if I even talked about my marketing career. I just talked about how somebody with a poli-sci degree transitioned into working in marketing. Truly, it's by raising my hand and saying, hey, I will do it. And also doing things outside of work that kept me learning about marketing, right? Like, in all of my time working, I have been doing a side passion that helps me think about how to be a better marketer. So hopefully this was helpful. I don't know, I was feeling super businessy with my blazer, but if you enjoyed this, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with somebody. Share it with somebody who's in school right now and who doesn't know what to do. Remind them that just take that first job and see where it takes you. It's all just a road. I'm still trying to see where the road takes me. I am totally still undecided, but I will see you all next week.